Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am so glad you're here. Today's date is Saturday, May 18th, 2024. Well, it's still May 18th where I live. We have about 9 more hours of it, and I think I'm not sure how far I am from the international date line. I think we have about another 12 to 15 hours before the entire um, planet has seen the end of May 18th, which was suspected to be an eventful day. And I've been kind of watching some of the usual places I go to for information to see what kind of subtle unfolds we might have. Because if you watched my previous video about May 18th, when it was an upcoming date, the cards seem to hint that there would be events, but there would be events that wouldn't be so in your face that people couldn't ignore them if they chose to. And so I personally wasn't looking for some kind of a huge flash event. Now watch, I'll poof disappear as I make this video. That'd be great. That would be great. We could all transcend together. Okay, well, anyway, I've been looking at some of my usual sites for information to see how any possible change might manifest. And I wanted to go through some of that with you and then do a tarot read about where I think the change is occurring. And so I'm going to take you to a compilation I've got. Actually, I'm going to go to a share screen. It's not so much a compilation. I do have a Facebook link I'll give you that takes us to the item that I wanted to do my read about. But I thought it might be interesting to you if you're starting to learn to look for information on your own to see what touch points are out there that are available to the general public with no subscription fees for things we can keep tabs on ourselves. This is by no means a comprehensive list, an array of places you can go, just some that I go to. I'm just trying to share and be candid and transparent. Maybe my old retired teacher self wants to kind of teach you how to look up some information on your own. So I'm going to go to a share screen, and then we're going to see some of the places I checked today to see what kind of activity might be showing up on May 18th that isn't typical headline activity. Okay, so bear with me. We don't need this. First, I went to Down Detector, which keeps track of some of the major sites. And as you can see, there's some little things happening, but nothing major, although this is pretty current. I just pulled this up. So there are some outages being noted by some of the names listed on here. Amazon's got some going on. Okay, Discord does, but nothing major, and nothing consistently happening to everybody at the same time. So I discarded this as a concern. Okay, internet doesn't seem to be out. But then internet basic services, I go here and look at the worldwide map. And since I've been here before, I know these numbers, even the ones that are in red, aren't too alarming. There do seem to be more outages happening. This shows it's near Amsterdam. So there's more happening in Europe than in the United States. And even though Russia looks like nothing's going on, I don't think they allow any of those monitors to be in their area. So that's what's going on, why we don't have any information there. And I've always wanted them, all these places to include, these map places to include Antarctica. I think there's a reason they don't, but that's just me. So then I thought, oh, hey, let's look at earthquake and tsunami activity. And I go this again, while it's a US site, USGS, I just Google earthquakes today and I get to this. And then I start playing with it. And I've shown this before, but as you can see, this global map in the last day, nothing too significant going on. And they do have pretty fast reporting here. So nothing happening earthquake-wise. And so I ruled that out. And then I took a peek at the Geiger Counter world map. And most places are green. I'm going to try, bear with me, to close up a little bit because there's actually a red zone that's only a few hundred miles from me. I thought, oh, what's going on? So I'm going to try to increase it here. You can see the red starting to peek around all those greens. we just don't usually have that happening in Canada. And I went closer and closer and closer. And then I looked at a street map, and this gauge, unless it's camouflaged within a residence, seems to be at a residence of some sort. Now, is it a residence that's actually a government site that's trying to look like a residence? I don't know. But that's 668 here, and I'm here. That's a little closer comfort, at least in my book. So I hope they get that cleared up. I want to share with you too, when I've seen these red zones before, I take a moment and I ask for divine or benevolent off-world help to restore these areas to typical radiation levels. And invariably within 24 hours, they do. So if you're starting to learn about the power of manifestation, about how we can actually use our thoughts and intentions to make some changes, here's a good practice way for you to do. It's worked for me numerous times. No credit to me. I just learned how to tap in through prayer and intention to some really positive energy. And folks, it works. It works. So I've been following this lady, Schumann Resonance Updates with Marguerite. She knows way more about those, about the Schumann resonance than I do. And she was recommended to me and by one of my viewers. And so I went to her site. So she says right now, this was just done 3 hours ago, that the Schumann is wild, spiking way over 100 HC, lots of odd anomalies on the charts, black spikes and columns, and black spikes, just for your information, equal timeline shifts. And that coincides with the information that Starfire Tor shares on the platform known as X, that's what those black spikes tend to mean. So, and she said, choose your frequencies intentionally. Wowie. Surf the Schumann waves. Much love to y'all. And then I started reading the comments. And there were comments that were very similar to what I had in my May 18th, where I made a passing mention to anomalies. And I was just amazed how many people had small anomalies they were noticing that they were sharing. And so those anomalies we're noticing in our reality. And some of them that were shared were absolutely beautiful. Some of them were just those little things where you think, is my mind playing tricks on me? I thought I put that package here, not there. And nobody's been in to move it. And in the Marguerite's post that I just referenced, some of the people were talking about how everyday items would be move about an inch or so, and there was no house movement to justify it. And the comment was made was that, yeah, we have a blending going on of timelines and we're not fully blended yet. And that really speaks to me. I think that's a lot of what's going on. Now, if you had asked me 10 years ago, I would have said it's a God thing. Well, I'll still say that it's a God thing, but I don't rule out the fact that possibly the time travel technology is not being a cause of some of these anomalies we see, or some of these changes to the timelines that are happening. In fact, I'm sure that's part of it. Absolutely sure. But alt media chatter has been speaking for quite a while about the fact that timelines are condensing and merging and heading towards a focal point. And so I find that very fascinating. Believe it or not, that's not where I was planning to go with this tarot read. If you look at the different things I looked at, the internet, earthquake activity, Geiger counter activity, I was looking for anomalies, and where we found them was in the energy. And I think one of the reasons so many prognosticators or people that are what we call date fagging have so many mistakes going on is that they try to put a calendar date on an energetic threshold that has to be met. I think quite often the things we're waiting on, even ascension itself, it's not going to have so much calendar events as thresholds of energy that have to be reached for things to happen. That's what I wanted to do this tarot read about today. Is that an accurate hypothesis? Or it might have enough evidence even to be a theory, because it goes hypothesis, you have question, a theory, where you say, there's some facts that back up that hypothesis. It's now a theory. And very seldom do things totally go into fact mode, no matter how much they tell you to trust the science. So let's just say this hypothesis or theory, depending on how much validity has already, in your opinion, has already been seen and observed to justify it. Are we looking at energetic thresholds? And energy can be, our thoughts, our spiritual self. Are we looking at energetic thresholds to have some of these events happen that we anticipate? And then so we're looking, that's our yes or no element. And then as always, insights and information, if so. Or if not, either way, let's get some insights and information. So let's find out, because it looks like I was looking at the political scene, and I'm going to do a political video after this. But I wasn't seeing anything that was outrageous. There's still the rumors of war. There's the debate. There's things going on. There's attempted assassinations, especially if you're a whistleblower or you're speaking out against certain treaties and what have you. But really, that's just kind of more of the same noise and mess that politics seems to be. And so I just want to ask, though, I want to get down to the core of it, because all of that comes back down to energy. So should we be looking for energetic thresholds for some of the big events we're hoping to have happen in our world and our plane of existence, and for humanity itself, plus other insights and information? Here we go. Let's find out. To be very specific, we are asking the universe for insights and information about this theory or hypothesis that vibration, frequency, energetic type of markers are what are going to be used to gauge readiness and the ability to bring in some huge changes to our to humanity, to our plane of existence. Just well, here we got I'm going to call that a jump out. Okay, we have the 7 of Wands showing up here. I'm going to set it off to the side. Tended to jump out. Let's see what it has to say in relation to the rest of the read. Even with my not too large hands, I seldom have a jump out. If I do have anything happen, it's usually several cards, just that I've fumbled, because in relation to the deck, my hand's not that big. Like that, several cards. Like that, several cards. Now that I talk about it, oh gosh. Oh. It's like when you're in school and the teacher stands behind you while you're writing. Ooh, didn't you hate that? I did. One more. So let's see what this theory is. It has some weight to it. And it would be wise if it does, for those who have been trying to put specific dates on actions, to maybe look at other markers, including, I want to go this way. So it's truly back. Great. Okay. I'm going to assume the whole deck was just turned around as I did it. We have the 6 of Wands already giving us kind of a positive yes. We have the Fool. So yeah, we're already getting some good yeses on this. We have the 10 of Pentacles. It's all about energy, vibration, and frequency, folks. It all is. Okay. Then we have the 3 of Wands. We have the Page of Wands. We have the 10 of Swords. And we have the 4 of Swords. Okay, so let's talk about these cards. Okay, and I'm going to try to get them a little more squared up in the camera. It's my attention to detail kind of showing in here. Okay, so we have this jumped out, was the 7 of Wands. And wands are action. And look, there's a lot of activity being indicated with these wands cards that have shown up in the read. So that's events, that's things like that are happening. We were asking about events, and we were asking, is it energetic? Is it frequency and vibration and energy type of changes that are going to be kind of the catalyst for changes we're looking at for humanity, for our health, for all sorts of things that are going on? And we're definitely getting a yes with that with this. Now, not the hard yes of the ace, but other cards can work together and give us that same positive focus. I say that because we've got the victory card here with the Six of Wands, and in tarot cards, wreaths are victory. Absolutely. There's no other way to read those. So this was a nod to our topic. We are on the right track here. In fact, the Fool is not a fool. It's someone stepping out in a new path and a new way. So new paths for us are going to be happening based on our psychic, energetic, frequency, vibration, readiness for those changes. So the more we learn to shed fear and anxiety and worry, to kind of live in the now, and to give ourselves permission to be the joyful beings that we were created to be as much as possible. Those kind of things are making a change that are going to continue to make changes in our world. Now, we're looking at the recent past with this card, and it's celebration. So more and more people are waking up to the power of intention, their ability to manifest changes, their acceptance that their thoughts really do work to shape their reality. And it's a power that all generations are going to be able to appreciate, eventually harness, and all enjoy. We are getting ready to set out on a new path here, a new path. The Three of Wands always indicates kind of setting out on a journey, but look, the path is clear before it. So it kind of clearing the way for a new path and setting out on it thoughtfully and intentionally and knowing where you're going. Now let's look at the near future. We have the Page of Wands showing up, and he's given us a nod to, he's a card of cautious optimism, discovery, and enthusiasm. So as we learn to make the most of things that we hadn't been taught to value, appreciate, or skills we were taught to hone in, our traditional and very constricted upbringing we've had up in the decades leading to this, we're discovering, and it's being celebrated. Also a nod to those this is one of my white hat cards that the universe works with me on, just because it's the one card in the deck that has a white hat, and I just love it. So that's part of what the Alliance is people that have, people or beings that have embraced that fact that we need to work towards the light. We need to reject some of the old paradigms, the evil, the just debt slavery that was how our world was structured by evil for so long. And so there are a lot of enlightened, or in the process of being enlightened, people that are working for that. Now, we have the 10 of Swords. I usually look at this card as one indicating an end of an era, start of another. But I'm going to tell you that right now, the nudge it's also given me is the fact that there are some people that would rather leave this plane of existence than go into a lighter, brighter, and higher type of dimension and reality. And we're saying goodbye to folks, and we're going to keep saying goodbye to them. And we need to understand that in a lot of cases, as sad as it may be, they chose to end now. Maybe because maybe they were enlightened, maybe they were ready, but their bodies are too frail for any kind of transition that may be happening to us. So the reality is we are going to still be saying goodbye to some people as we make this transformation. We just need to take comfort in the fact that some of them are crossing over now because of frailty. And some of them, it was something that they agreed with their loving creator they would do. So I hope that's not too controversial for any of you. If you're new to tarot, it may be, or me and tarot, it may be. I don't mean to offend anybody. I try to be kind of non-denominational in how I present things, but I do very much believe in a loving creator. And I believe that we have a relationship with that loving creator, and even have had, as free will creatures, a say in being here at this time and in this place. And if that offends you, then, please stop the video and go find content you do like and enjoy. Now, the cards are also telling us another thing here is that, first of all, this card indicates taking some time to rest and refresh. And that is part of, as we get these upheavals of energy, or we agree to, try to absorb it. And I always intentionally say, I welcome any positive, loving, healing, ascension energy that is sent my way that my loving creator would approve of. And I feel like that lets me just be welcoming to all the good that's trying to come my way. And we need to be gentle with ourselves in that process. And the other thing that this card often indicates is there's more going on here than they're telling us. And so while the tarot does give us some insights and information, it doesn't necessarily lay it all out. I believe there is a plan and some guidance going on in what's shared with us and how much, and I totally respect that. I would never try to violate that. The only time I have tried to override is when I felt like there were false protections put on somebody's situation's information that we had a right to know as the public because they had chosen to be in the public eye. Let's get a couple more cards and see what those have to say, and then we'll see how this figures into it, okay? We have the Knight of Wands, more wands showing up. More wands showing up with the Eight of Wands. 6 of the cards that are out here now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, are wands. Wands are a fast-moving energy. So we're also getting told here that, yeah, again, we were asking about energy. We got a lot of cards that indicate energy. We also got a lot of cards that indicate energy and results from that energy that aren't millennia off in being seen. In fact, often, whereas some of the other cards, for example, if you had a lot of swords going on, you may be looking at events that are going to take over a year or so to unfold in a general sense of the word. But what they're saying is the more we wake up, the more we realize that we are kind of providing some of the energy for what is trying to transpire, for how we assimilate healing and ascension energy, to how we choose to spend our energy. There's a lot of energy things going on here, and we're part of it. And remember, even our thoughts are energy, and energy can be transmuted, but it can't be destroyed. So if we're going to change things with our energy, with our thoughts, with our emotions and what have you, let's change them as we can. And that's where the Jumper comes out. Okay, this card indicates determination. That the odds may seem to be stacked against him, but he's actually determined, number one. He doesn't look at all fearful, number two. And number three, he's got the high ground and he knows it. So the odds aren't nearly as stacked against him as it would seem at first glance with this card. So determination. So our determination to see our world get to a place where there's more true freedom, there's more true good health and life options for us. That is part and parcel of seeing this happen faster and more fully. Let's recap. In my most recent video before this, I looked ahead at May 18th. And right now for me, we are well into May 18th, but it's not yet over. And I've shared with everybody some sites I was looking at to see, well, if there is going to be some change happen today that could be overlooked if people willfully chose to. In other words, I wasn't expecting any kind of a worldwide type of event that would be unavoidable. So I was checking things like the Geiger counter for the world, the internet down detector outages, for power outages, and earthquake activity, tsunami activity, and all those seem to be pretty much in stasis. And what wasn't was the solar energy that's coming our way, and that continues to be high. There continues to be some spikes. I shared with you a Facebook compiler that is way more knowledgeable than me, and I've shared others in the past about the Schumann resonance and solar energy, but that seems to be where the activity is happening. It's not on a political front or a geophysical front so much. It seems to be that. And so that led me to the curiosity and the question of, are one of the reasons that dates tend to come and go when people predict them? And is it energy we should be focusing on? Is that what is the catalyst for the changes we're happening? Is that how, our loving creator universe is making sure that we have a readiness for the change that's coming? That we as a collective, our energy is really the big component of the change we're looking for. And we got a very solid yes. And I'm going to say some other things we got with it. First of all, the universe is really glad we asked that question. We are on the right track. Out of the cards I pulled, 10 cards, there were 6 of them that were wands, which are actions and events, and they don't take a long time to resolve. So we are in a time when there are a lot of changes going on. There's a lot of activity going on right now. It's not so much activity we can observe with the naked eye, although our instruments are picking up some of it with all the Schumann resonance, the solar activity and flares that are being monitored. There is activity that is measurable and observable in that energy question. And that energy is all part of us moving into that new plane that we want, to be out of a 3D reality and out of a fear-based reality, out of a paradigm that is debt slavery and so much. So our energy that we're contributing to that is vital to the process. And that energy, since we are creatures of free will, that energy and how we give it or choose to share it or withhold it is very much a part of the process and part of the timing. And that is why I'd almost recommend, if anybody is doing, you can look ahead to specific dates and get some hints and insights. But if you predict that some very specific event is going to happen at one very specific time and day, and it's energy fueled or a catalyst of energy from the collective, you could really miss out. And then that leads to people getting discouraged and downhearted. And so if I could give one advice to people out there that are putting out the dates, stop looking at the dates specifically. Absolutely. No, notice the changes, celebrate the changes that are positive, and look forward like that. The other card we had a card that jumped out, which doesn't happen very often. As I was explaining, and then I proceeded to do it a couple times. Usually, since my hands aren't that large, if I drop cards during a deal, it's several of them, and I don't consider them jumpers. This was. And this card, working with the cards that we pulled, indicated that a determined human race can make a huge difference. Hang on just a second. I'm going to cough. I'll be right back. I love spring, but oh, the pollen. Okay. And yes, I'm doing local honey and trying to get acclimated. But this is, kind of a new area of the world for me. So anyway, determination does matter. It does matter. And even if it seems like things are stacked against us as far as having that change be manifest and real, the wands were telling us it still is possible that big changes could be coming soon. And that the more we're determined to rise above, the better we're going to fare, and the outcome's going to be really positive. So your thoughts matter. You matter. As I tell people, several times I've mentioned this in the comments of my YouTube channel, because I interact in there with people that have viewed the video. When I open the door into a dark room, the dark doesn't spill out to me. The light goes into the dark. It makes a difference in how much dark is in that room before I even ever step in. And if my little light that I shed makes a difference, yours can too. All of ours do. So remember, dark doesn't spill into the light. Light spills into the dark, and the dark recedes and lessens. And that's what we want to have happen with our world. And that's why what we think matters. What we do matters. It may not make a big change. It may not make a big difference, but it does matter. And don't you ever let anybody tell you different. That's it for this video. I thank you so much for your time and attention. And if you're a subscriber, I welcome you, or glad you're still with me. If you had to resubscribe, Love the tenacity. And if you had to pound that like button 3 or 4 times to get it to go, thank you again for being tenacious. I appreciate it. Until next time, I send you, if you're willing to receive it, love, light, and I wish for you everything bright. Bye.